Why, hello there. Hopefully, we've got a massive cicada symphony going out here, so hopefully that doesn't interrupt the audio too much. But I wanted to take a minute and talk about why it is I don't participate in nutritional deals as an affiliate or network marketer. And I know some people maybe won't like this because they're in a nutritional deal. I just want to point out that this is just based on my personal experience. It doesn't necessarily mean that the deal you're in has any problems with it or anything like that. It's just my personal preference after going through certain experiences in my life over many, many years of doing this stuff. I recently posted on my Telegram and my Facebook that I was looking for great offers to promote. And we're in this weird sort of affiliate marketing purgatory right now where it's just hard to find good offers. Every offer I find has something about it I don't like. It's got some gotcha, it's not a high value, it's got some regulatory issue. And really, we've come to a point now where the hardest part about this business is just finding a great offer. That wasn't always the case. I mean, if you go back to 2008 through maybe 2017, I mean, just more offers than you could ever possibly accommodate now. And it could just be because I know more now, but it's very hard to find a good offer. And so I posted, if you have what you think is a good offer and it meets these requirements, please send it to me and let me look at it. And I said, no nutritional deals, no crypto deals or trading related deals, and no travel deals. And so people were asking me, well, why no nutritional deals? Why no travel deals? Like, what gives? Why no crypto deals? I don't want to explain all that, but I did want to touch on the nutritional one specifically. So there are a few reasons why I don't do nutritional deals, and I have in the past several times. I've actually built fairly large organizations in nutritional deals. And the main problem we run into with nutritional deals is regulatory. So if you're not aware, and most people are not, the FDA, they monitor, when I say monitor, I mean they observe and control everything related to drug claims. So you have to understand what a drug claim is. There's this definition that they have of what a drug is. Now, the average person, if I ask you, you know what a drug is, they have some idea, but it doesn't fit with what the FDA's definition is. The FDA says, and I may have not exact wording, but it's basically any substance that treats, prevents, mitigates, or cures any disease is a drug. It does not matter what the substance is. Okay? That could be apple skins. It could be cherry pits. It could be apricot seeds. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's all natural. It doesn't matter if it's a fruit, if it's a vegetable, if it's some kind of colostrum extract. It just doesn't matter. It's any substance that actually includes devices. Now, I don't know what device, I can't off the top of my head think of a device known for curing things, but if you had a device that mitigated, prevented, treated, or cured any disease, that would be a drug. And if it doesn't, or even if it does cure that thing or treat that thing or help that thing, and you say it does, or someone in your organization says it does, or the company says it does, or one of your customers posts online a testimonial saying how it really helped her arthritis, that's a drug claim. Now, I've talked to a lot of people about stuff like this. Some of them multi-million dollar earners in this industry, have been doing this as long as I have or longer. And they have kind of this common response to this topic, which is, it did cure her cancer. Okay, but that Fucoidan did cure her cancer, right? It did help his arthritis. It's true. I understand that. And there are some amazing products out there that do amazing things. And the fact is, a lot of human beings are very deficient in certain nutrients. And a lot of human beings, if you just put them on a good multi with a high absorption rate, they're going to see differences. A A lot of them won't, but we'll get to that in a second. So it's not that these things aren't beneficial. They are. If you were to look in my cabinets, you'd see I could basically open a supplement store with all the stuff in my cabinets. And I actually work with a nutrition response professional about every 2 or 3 weeks to make sure that what I'm taking in is actually what I need and it's not causing any sensitivities and all that. So I have I'm very pro-nutrition, have been for decades. However, when you're promoting a business and you're building a business and you spend 15 hours a day doing 3-way calls like I have, and prospecting like I have, and recording videos and creating resources and trainings and step-by-step guides for how to get started for the clients and your new team members, and you put all this work in and you do that for 2 years, and then the company says to you one day, oh, we're not going to be able to sell that product anymore in the United States. Why? It works too good. It works too well. The customers keep posting testimonials about how it did this, that, and the other. Now, I was with a company, it's still around, great company, big company, run by really sane, intelligent, wonderful people. And we had a product that literally would clear the plaque out of your arteries. I mean, it literally was the cure for atherosclerosis. And we could prove it. And I'd have customers, they would go in and they would get a coronary artery calcification scan and they would be like 80% blocked. And they'd take this stuff for 6 months and they'd go in and get another scan and they'd be 20% blocked. I mean, it was irrefutable that it worked. And you, as a sane human being, you say, that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing that it works. Not to the regulators. When you have an agency who, and this is just my observation, my opinion, it seems to me their purpose is to just squash anything that's not a pharmaceutical product. In other words, if the pharmaceutical industry hired some goons to stomp out all their competition, and that was the entire purpose of that agency, it would pretty much be what we have right now. The cicada's landing on me. So, you're working against a very, very powerful agency with, for all practical purposes, unlimited funding within the scope of your business, and just way too much authority. I mean, they could just come in one day and shut everything down. And the better your products work, the more risk you have of that. Because even if you had a great compliance department and a great compliance training before anybody could even start referring anyone to the business, they had to go through the compliance training. They had to understand that you can never, ever, ever mention any disease names. And you can never, ever, ever have testimonials or your customers come on and they mention disease names. Right? Like obesity. Obesity is a disease. You're not just fat anymore. You have a disease called obesity. So if you have a weight loss product and it handles your obesity, that's a drug claim. I know this sounds crazy, and it is crazy, but that's how it is. So in any event, we had all these customers and they were getting these scans and proving that it was dissolving the plaque in their arteries. I mean, hard to know, but I mean, I would say quite literally saving people's lives. And because they were winning so hard, they would post these testimonials. They post them on Facebook. I've been taking this stuff and it cleared the plaque out of my arteries. Here's my before and after scan to prove it. And people think, well, that's a good thing. Like, documentation beats conversation. Yes, great. But you can't control 200,000 customers and what they say. So when they're posting all over the place, at a certain point, if you get enough attention, that comes under regulatory scrutiny. Now, if you add into that new reps and affiliates who don't understand all this stuff, right? And they start making YouTube videos or posting, or they start holding webinars. And on those webinars, they got 50 customers. 8 of them were like, their wins were so amazing, they have to be on the call to give their testimonials. And the customer comes on And they could say, well, I used to have all this pain in my knees and my hips, and like when I get out of bed in the morning, like I just couldn't. It took me 10 minutes to get warmed up and stretched out where I could even walk, you know. It was like bone on bone. But they don't say that. What they say is, well, I've had rheumatoid arthritis for 15 years, and I haven't even hardly been able to walk. And I started taking this stuff in April, and by May 15th, I hopped out of bed one day, and I realized when I went in the bathroom and sat down on the toilet, hey, that didn't even hurt. And it's the only thing I changed in my life. That must be what's helping it. There's a drug claim. Well, when you're on a live webinar, you don't have like a delay where you can beep stuff out. And I know this from actually going through it. All it takes is one regulator, one investigator from one regulatory agency to be on one webinar for your company, and that whole company can be shut down. And that actually has happened, and more than once. Well, who's holding the webinar? I don't know. Some guy, some distributor. He's 400 levels down from the master distributor. The owners of the company don't even know who he is. He's just holding the webinar. He happens to have, 50,000 YouTube subscribers, and he posted a notice of a webinar, and he had 800 people on the webinar, and one of the customers gave a testimonial like that. That's it. You're done. Is it utterly freaking insane? Yes, it is. Should you be able to live in a society where you can speak the truth without being squashed by the might of authoritarianism? I think so. I think freedom to speak is a worthwhile thing. Does it seem sane and right that the definition of the drug is any substance that helps? I mean, my goodness, if you have rickets and you start taking vitamin D, obviously it's going to help your rickets. Is that a drug claim? Yes. Now, or what's the other one? Scurvy. Like it's some big mystery. If you have scurvy, eat oranges. Take some vitamin C. That'll clear up your scurvy pretty darn quick. Is that a drug claim? Yes. Is it a drug? Well, according to their definition, you wouldn't think, is vitamin C a drug? No. Okay. So how do I handle my scurvy? Take vitamin C. Now it's a drug. You see how insane this is? It's almost as if the people who wrote the definitions stand to benefit from not letting anyone have any natural solutions outside of synthetic pharmaceuticals. In any event, it doesn't matter if it's true. You see, that's what's the kicker with this, that people can't get through their heads. It doesn't matter if it's true. It doesn't matter if you're being honest. It doesn't matter if the customer's being honest. Yes, it did help their arthritis. Absolutely. And every person with arthritis needs to know about it. But you can't talk about it. You could say, well, I had a lot of pain in my joints. Pain's not a disease. There's probably some weird diagnosis like chronic pain disorder or something like that would classify. But as long as they haven't been diagnosed and they just say my joints were hurting all the time, well, that would be okay. So now you have to educate every single member of your organization. You have to educate every customer into this idea. And you have to hope they don't forget at some point in the future. And this sharing of testimonials thing doesn't go proliferate to a wide scale where it starts getting picked up and seen by regulators. Because if your company goes into momentum and you get a lot of attention, the regulators are going to start looking at it. If you got 10,000 members, probably not going to be a problem. If you're doing 800,000 a month in volume, maybe not a problem. You start doing 8 million a month in volume or 80 million a month in volume, somebody's going to be watching that. I've seen companies have really great compliance departments. It's like you send an email to your list and 10 minutes later the compliance department is contacting you. And I've seen companies where the owners have been in the wellness network marketing space for decades. And I get on the webinar and it's nothing but drug claims. There's 15 customers on there speaking, all giving drug claims. They don't know. I contact the owners and I go, guys, are you not aware of how the FDA defines a drug and what drug claims are? Because like I just watched that webinar and it was just nothing but drug claims. I mean, if a regulator were to see that, we'd all be out of business. And they go, whoa, what do you mean? Like they don't even know. I find that the regulatory thing is one of those areas where people just don't know. Like it just, and I've had scenarios where like I was doing something that was in violation of the rules. I have no idea. Like, why would it never would even occur to me that that would be a problem? It would be like if you moved to a new neighborhood and there was a law against riding your bicycle on a road, on the street. Like, why would you ever think that would be a thing? So you move into a new neighborhood, you get your bicycle out, you go for a bike ride, you get arrested. You're like, what the hell? What was I doing? They're like, riding your bike. Well, first of all, you're like, why would riding a bike be illegal? And second of all, how in the name of God would I ever even consider to check that bike riding is illegal? I mean, it's just not something you would even consider that would be a problem. I've seen this a lot. So even the owners of the companies don't fully understand this stuff. A lot of these companies, you know, it's like they wholesale their products from production facilities in Utah, and they put some kind of twist on it, and they're familiar with the network marketing space, maybe as a distributor at some point, and they were successful, and now they want to start their own deal, and they just don't go through all this. They don't ask, like, what are all the regulations that may apply to everything that I'm doing, and let me hire. I mean, you're going to have to spend money on attorneys. First of all, you got to find the right attorney who understands this area. And, you know, the attorney would have to understand the network marketing model and all the drug claims stuff and all the FTC stuff related to income claims and all that stuff related to the business model. And I just don't think those guys are that easy to find, and they're certainly not cheap. So that's the first reason I don't do nutritional deals. Now, that's not to say I would never do a wellness deal. There could be some sort of new technology or product that comes out that's not like a nutrition thing that I might find interesting. But so far I haven't. The other reason is, in my experience, one of the things that happens is certain nutritional products, people start taking them and they see a benefit right away. Some people. Other people take the same thing and they don't see anything. They don't see any change. So if you have a body that's very deficient in a particular thing, and that product provides that particular thing, and your body now has that substance that it needs to do whatever function it needs to do, you're going to notice a difference probably. What I find is the percentage of people when they start taking a product that go, wow, I feel so much better, is very tiny. Even though it may actually be helping 100% of the people who take it. So what happens is they go through the sales pitch, they're expecting how wonderful and what the result's going to be, and then they get 2 months in, 3 months in, they don't notice any difference. The only difference they notice is they have $190 a month coming out of their account for their auto ship. And if they're not noticing a difference, they just don't stick. I mean, it's just what it comes down to. I find it very hard to get people to stick in those programs. The upside is the ones who do notice a result, the ones who are ruined by some sort of body condition, if that condition becomes alleviated or helped, they think as a result of taking that supplement, those people will stick, and they'll stick a long time. But it's not a very high percentage. So what I've found is it's like just grinding and grinding. It's like three-way calls, day after day after day after day, and you're putting people in, and you know, you put 30 people in this month, and the next month 10 of them they canceled, right? Why? Well, just because they didn't notice any benefit. That's the second reason. The third reason is that a lot of the time, I don't say a lot of the time, but it has happened that company owners and administrators make bad decisions sometimes. Sometimes their compensation plans are not thought out well or not tested with future testing. And they realize when they get to a certain point that their administrative costs have gone up, their product cost is already as high as they want to take it, and they have to do something to be able to stay in business. There's two things they usually do to handle that. One is they change the compensation plan. So you as a distributor, when you came in, there was a certain agreement. If you do this, if you achieve these targets, here's how we're going to pay you. And you go, okay, that makes sense. I'm okay with that. Let's do this. We have an agreement. Later, when they changed that, and now they all have a clause in there that says we reserve the right to change the compensation plan at any time, and basically there's nothing you can do about it. And you agree to that when you become a distributor. When they change the comp plan and your income goes from whatever it was down to 35% of whatever it was, and this has actually happened to me probably half a dozen times after building something, that pisses you off. You're doing all this work to build a residual, they call it. It's not really, it's like recurring, to build a recurring income based on your customer base. And one day you wake up and they go, hey, we had to change our comp plan. We reserved the right to do that. Sorry. And now your check, instead of being, $8,500 a month, now it's $3,700. And you're like, well, shit. I moved into a new house last year, and $3,700 that barely pays my mortgage and my electric bill now. What the hell am I going to do, right? I can't work any harder at this. So you become disillusioned. 30% of the distributor base becomes disillusioned. They all go, you know what? I'm going to go somewhere else. And you see 40% of the organization disappear over the course of a couple days. And the whole thing compresses. And all the leaders who got pissed and left because they don't like being treated like that, lost all their income after all that work they put in, after bringing all those customers to that company. I don't know necessarily that this is like a strategy that some of these company owners use. It could be like a purposeful strategy, like we're paying out all this money. These leaders have brought us all these customers. They're our customers. If we just change the comp plan and piss them off and they all leave, well, we don't have to pay them anymore. Look, there's these 3 guys. Every month we're paying out $2.5 million to these 3 guys. Let's piss them off. They all leave and we keep all the customers. Now, those guys can contact the customers and try to move them somewhere else. But God, that's like a whole nother, you got to redo all the work, right? It could be that that's a strategy. I don't know. It kind of seems like that, but maybe that's not. Maybe it's just a coincidence. That's the first thing they do to try to save money. The second thing they'll do is they'll have a product that is actually really good and people notice results with, and they really want the product as the product, whether they're associated with the business or not. They take it religiously because if they don't take it, they can't take their walks every day because their knees hurt, for example. In order to save costs, the company now makes a change to one of the ingredients. They start sourcing one of the ingredients from another source that's 60% of the price, and for whatever reason, even though it's the same substance technically, it's processed in a different way, it's a different level of quality, it doesn't absorb the same, it doesn't interact with the other elements in the supplement the same way. And now, these people are still taking the supplement, but their knees are hurting again. Just an example. So they change the product, the ingredients, the amount of the ingredients, what the formula is, the quality of the ingredients. Now the product just doesn't work like it used to. Then what do you see? A few months into that, you see mass exodus of customers. This used to help. It doesn't seem to be helping anymore. I stopped it for 3 weeks just to see. I feel exactly the same. I don't know what the hell happened, but I ain't spending my $200 a month on the auto ship for something that's not helping me. And that's the downfall of a lot of these nutritional companies. So regulatory, ownership, dumb ownership decisions that affect comp plans and ingredient quality. The other aspect is, I find that nutrition is very hard to promote. It requires a lot of contacting and a lot of leads to filter out the ones who actually qualify and have the right way of thinking about this. You get a new distributor in and he's starting literally with a list of his friends and family. A lot of people, if you go back to when I was 18, if I was dealing with my family, first of all, they're all smokers. And at least on one side of my family, they all drinkers. And I don't know where what it's like where you're from, but where I'm from, the main social activity is sitting around the table, smoking cigarettes and drinking beer. You go to work, you come home, you go over to your buddy's house, you sit at the table, you smoke cigarettes and drink beer. Or you go to the bar and you smoke cigarettes and drink beer. I don't know if that's like a German, Central European culture type of thing. I had a friend who lived in Germany for a few years. I remember her telling me, you can't even get water there. Everyone just drinks beer. You go out for lunch, you want to get water, they don't have water. They just have beer. That's what they drink, beer. I don't know. To me, it seems weird. I live in Tennessee now. I don't really even know anybody who drinks. But when I was younger, that's just kind of the thing. And this was a community of people who like worked in the auto shops. And the point I'm trying to get to you here is when you're talking to someone who smokes 2 packs of cigarettes a day and drinks 4 to 6 beers every single day and 10 of them on the weekends, and these aren't people that are you'd say, well, that's an alcoholic. No, these people are not alcoholics. That's just a social thing that they do. Some of them are alcoholics. But these aren't people who couldn't stop doing that. That's just the way that their life is. It's what they've seen since they were kids, and it's just like a thing that they do. But trying to talk to that person about nutrition and wellness, I mean, this is a complete waste of time, right? So right off the bat, somebody making that first list, most of their list just simply doesn't qualify. I like to find offers where they fit more people, or it's very easy for me to target the niche. And what I found about the nutrition niche is I'm either talking to someone, like I might as well be talking Chinese. Like there's just no point in me talking about wellness with them. They don't even consider it. They get up and go to work every day. They smoke their cigarettes. They eat their McDonald's. They drink their beer. I mean, this person just does not have the awareness level to deal with their health. It could be some of them will get to a point and their body starts to fail and then they'll start to worry about it. But the other thing is that I find is the people that I prospect, that I run into who do have some awareness about wellness and nutrition, they already have products that they take that they like. So now it becomes a mission of I have to convert them from whatever they're taking to what I'm selling. This is not easy, especially if they've been through a number of different products and they finally found the one that they think works for them. Some of them are willing to try it just to help you out. But that's a tough sale, to get someone to make a whole new decision like that. I just think it's really hard. If, my own mother wanted to get into network marketing, that would be the last thing that I would suggest she do is nutritional stuff. I would try to help her find something that's easier to promote, where you don't have, when you're prospecting someone, your chances of finding a prospect who qualifies are much, much higher. It's not to say there are deals out there where every person is necessarily a prospect. I mean, there's deals that come close. But so these are the reasons why I don't do nutrition. You may be in a nutrition deal. You may have a product that absolutely changed your life. There's some products like that I use. I just don't sell them for these reasons. And I don't want to mention any company names, but there are some companies that do a really good job with compliance. And as a matter of fact, there's a gentleman, his name is Dr. Joel Wallach, who sued the FDA 9 times and won all 9 times. And what he sued them over was the ability to state that taking such and such nutrient can help with such and such condition. Now, I don't know off the top of my head what those conditions were. The issue comes up when you're selling the substance. So I could go out and I could talk about any supplement, and this will literally cure this and that. Like I can tell you, this product will clear the plaque out of your arteries. So if you have atherosclerosis and you're worried about it, take a look at this. As long as I don't sell it and I have no financial connection to the outcome, they don't care. When you're selling it, that's when they care, because they don't want anybody making money off drug claims except for the pharmaceutical company. So it's not necessarily true that there aren't any conditions that you can't mention that for. However, I would also point out that Dr. Wallach, who you should all look into if you're interested in nutrition, Dr. Wallach doesn't actually earn based on any of the sales of those supplements that he took them to court for the right to say they help these conditions. He does it's not a podcast, but it's like a call every day. I believe he still does it, where people can call in and they go, I got this, I got that diagnosis, I got this diagnosis, and he'll tell them, okay, you need to take 2 of these and 2 of these and 4 of those. You're going to take 12 of these a day, and then you're going to take this. And he could do that because he sued the FDA and won the right to do that. Having said that, he doesn't actually earn off any of those things he suggests, and I don't know how much of a role that plays. So again, I don't mean this to try to squash or hinder or baffle anyone's reach in the nutrition space. If it's something you're passionate about and you have a customer base and they're winning, that's amazing. This is just why I don't do it. I've just gotten sick of spending a year or 2 or 3 years building something, and those are hard to build. I mean, the last nutrition deal I built, I was doing 3-way calls like more than full time for months and months on end. And the degree to which it built was far smaller than I could have built something else, which would have paid me way more money. The reason I did it is because I believed that product was actually solving a serious problem. I was actually solving the number one cause of death at the time, but it didn't last, and they had to pull the product from the market. I've had this happen a few times. Call me, what would you call that? Jaded? Call me jaded on nutrition if you want. When you've been married 4 times and all 4 of the times your wives develop drug problems and cheat on you, after a while you get to the point where you're like, maybe I shouldn't be getting married. Maybe I should rethink my decisions about my selection process. And I haven't been married 4 times, but just as an example. So I don't know if that helps you or hurts you, folks, but that's my story on that topic, okay? So thank you for your time. Otherwise, my contact info is below if you'd like to reach out. Okay? All right. We'll talk next time. Bye.